Hello, I'm Father Tyler Bandora, and today's topic is Lent. There's an old saying, no pain, no gain. I like to look at the season of Lent as a spiritual workout, a season that comes with its own exercise plan. There's those three traditional pillars of Lent: prayer, fasting, and almsgiving. How can we look at these as ways that we can spiritually grow throughout the season? Lent begins with Ash Wednesday, the day where we gather and receive on our foreheads that sign of the cross, marked with ashes. Many people might wonder, where do those ashes come from that we receive? They come from the previous Palm Sunday. Those palms that were given are collected and burned, and it's from that the ashes are created. They remind us of our mortality. They remind us of our call to conversion, of change, that we're all called to practice throughout the season of Lent. Consider approaching Lent in a different way this year. Allow what we see, what we hear, and even the smells to draw us into that deeper relationship with Christ. What does the season of Lent look like? Often when we walk into a church throughout the season of Lent, we're going to see purple. The priest wears purple or violet. The altar, the ambo, and even some statues and crucifixes are draped in purple. That color purple has a very ancient connection of being a sign of royalty. It was what kings would wear. It was a sign of their authority or power. And so throughout the season of Lent, this color is used liturgically because it reminds us of the power of Christ, His victory over sin and death, the power He represents and demonstrates on Easter Sunday. Lent calls us to fast, and so we fast both as human beings and also liturgically. The sound of Lent is silence. And so during the season of Lent, when we go to Mass, the Gloria that we usually hear, which is sung, is no longer there. The gospel acclamation of the Alleluia is no longer used. It's a reminder to us that we're called to simplify the way we live throughout the season. The smell of Lent for me is often associated with those fish fries that we go to on Fridays during Lent. We do so because Fridays are a day that we abstain from eating meat. We abstain from eating meat because meat was so often associated with those joyful celebrations. And so that ability on Friday to be able to say no to those things that we might desire leads us to being able to better say yes to Christ. If we can say no in the smaller things, then when it leads to those larger temptations, we have that ability to say no and to direct our attention more to Christ. Lent is 40 days. That number 40 is symbolic. Jesus spent 40 days in the desert before He entered into public ministry. It rained 40 days and 40 nights in the book of Genesis during the Great Flood. The Israelites wandered for 40 years before they reached the Promised Land. The number 40 represents a period of testing, or the right amount of time for God's grace to be at work in the life of His people. I pray that during this season of Lent, you may discover in a deeper way God's great love for you. Have a blessed Lent.